The latest on the California synagogue shooting and local places of worship now cracking down on security. Young children saved tonight after a house fire in Monroe. They have their babysitter to thank. And a dad turns to the public to help keeping his son with autism in school. I'm Annalisa Klebers. You're watching News 12 Connecticut. Taking a look at our community camera in Orange, meteorologist Michelle Powers joins us now with a look at your hyper-local forecast. Michelle, temperatures are dropping.
They will really drop tonight after the rain clears, and then we're talking about some frost. Now, today was a chilly day. We had a lot of clouds around, and we picked up a little bit of rain. So let's take a look at the forecast for the rest of tonight. You may want to keep those jackets handy, and we are looking at drier weather overnight. And then this upcoming week, unfortunately, will feature more rain. So locally today, we didn't pick up too much, but take a look at the colder air following this little system. Already north of us, temperatures are dropping through the 40s, and 30s are actually in our future for tonight. So there may be a couple of stray showers around early this evening, and then overnight the sky will clear out nicely. Come tomorrow, it's a beautiful start. Plenty of sunshine as we wake up in the morning, but the clouds will collect, and then by late tomorrow night, we're talking about rain chances returning. So temperatures in the meantime, we're holding in those 40s, but overnight we are looking at some 30s. Cold enough to see some frost. National Weather Service has issued some frost advisories which go up overnight. I'll have more on that and the rest of your forecast coming up. That's a look at your hyperlocal weather.
Michelle, thank you. We begin tonight on the latest on the California synagogue shooting, where at least one person is dead and others wounded in the attack, including a rabbi. The city of Poway, California, in mourning today after a 19-year-old suspect opened fire Saturday afternoon. It was the last day of Passover. Last night, a vigil for the victims of another attack on a place of worship. We are now learning more about the gunman. Police are looking into what they are calling an open letter that they believe was written by the suspect. In the letter, the suspect refers to other attacks on other places of worship. Leaders in the community wondering if education and an understanding of different religions could have stopped today's shooting.
I think if we used love and education, I think we would dismantle a lot of these things. The perpetrator was a young person. That person could have been educated away from such tragedy.
The suspect is also taking credit for an arson incident at a mosque in another California community. Authorities are now looking at his social media accounts for more on a possible motive. Meantime, there was extra security at synagogues across western Connecticut today in response to the shooting. News 12 Connecticut's Frank Recchia has the story.
As worshipers arrived at Congregation B'nai Israel on Park Avenue in Bridgeport Sunday morning, police could be seen keeping watch on the building. It was an effort organized by Chief A.J. Perez at the request of the synagogue in response to the deadly synagogue attack outside San Diego.
Hate really does know no bounds.
The rabbi who made that request was James Prosnit, who heads up B'nai Israel. We caught up with Prosnit at the Congregation Cemetery in Fairfield, where he was teaching third graders about the cycle of life.
We immediately contacted the Bridgeport police because we have religious school on Sunday mornings, and we know it is unnerving to many of our school families, appropriately so.
Prosnit says it was horrifying to look at these images on television, knowing his synagogue could also be a target. And that's why he did not hesitate to request a special police presence for weekend services.
On one hand, it's shocking, and on the other hand, we're so troubled because it's no longer as shocking.
Senator Richard Blumenthal praised the city of Bridgeport for making extra security available, saying it's sad that this kind of manpower is required to begin with.
Enough is enough. The security needed for this temple and others across the country reflect the spread of this epidemic of hatred.
And they lived good, long lives, and they really brought a lot to our community and to our congregation.
The rabbi says his cycle of life lesson could not have been more timely, because attacks like this one are becoming part of a cycle. He says it's one that will likely prompt him to call on police for help again in the future.
It's just a devastating time once again for us to get our arms around what's going on in our world today.
In Bridgeport, Frank Recchia, News 12, Connecticut.
Thanks, Frank. And synagogues in Fairfield and Norwalk were among those who also requested extra security. The shooting comes 6 months to the day after the deadly shooting at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh during Shabbat morning service. 11 people were killed and 6 others injured in that attack. A babysitter home with young children last night is being credited for helping them safely evacuate a house fire in Monroe. It broke out just before 8 o'clock on the back deck of the house on Sheep Meadow Drive. The babysitter got the kids out of the house and quickly called for help. Crews were able to put out the fire, but the deck and kitchen were heavily damaged. No one was hurt. State police investigating a rollover crash that happened early this morning on I-95. Crews arrived around 1:30 this morning to find a car flipped upside down between exits 17 and 16 in the southbound lanes in Westport. Officers say a tractor trailer was also involved. The driver of the car had what appeared to be non-life-threatening injuries. Senator Richard Blumenthal meeting today with a Norwalk veteran who's on the verge of becoming homeless. 59-year-old Ezra Priest recently had heart surgery and also suffered a stroke, and no shelter will take him in due to his health conditions. The former U.S. Marine has been living with a friend but has to leave at the end of the month. Blumenthal says far too many veterans with health problems are facing this dilemma, and America needs to do a better job of looking after its heroes.
Someone who's served and sacrificed in the Marine Corps, no way that person should be on the streets. We need to find a place for him.
I served my country, and the only thing I'm looking for is a roof over my head. I'm not looking for anything more, nothing elaborate.
Blumenthal says he's working with the nonprofit Homes for the Brave to try and get Priest into a shelter. A fund has been set up to help the disabled vet. We have more information on News12.com. State lawmakers are set to present their tax and spending proposals this week, with separate committees voting on a spending bill Tuesday and a revenue package Wednesday. The proposals come 2 months after Governor Lamont presented his 2-year $43.1 billion budget. Right now, there's disagreement between some Democrats and Governor Lamont over tax policy. But ultimately, the legislature and the government must come to a budget compromise before the legislative session ends June 5th. All right, the Fairfield-based charity Save the Children says thousands of adults and children in Mozambique have no access to desperately needed emergency supplies in the wake of Cyclone Kenneth. Cyclone Kenneth, the strongest storm to ever hit northern Mozambique, has caused extensive damage, ripping homes apart and wiping out entire communities. Rescue workers with Save the Children have been unable to reach families affected by the storm because of torrential rain and flooding. Cyclone Kenneth comes just over a month since the last cyclone tore through central Mozambique, impacting nearly 2 million people and killing more than 600. Pregnancy crisis centers in Connecticut could soon have to change their advertising. Lawmakers plan to vote on legislation to force pregnancy crisis centers to clearly explain the services they provide in their ads. Critics say the legislation could lead to expensive legal challenges if passed. And people in Greenwich enjoyed fast cars for a good cause this weekend. The Hypercar Circle 2 charity event was at the Fairway Country Club today, and all the proceeds going towards the fight against Alzheimer's. News 12 Connecticut's Nina Kapoor takes us there.
Though he may only be 15, Jared Rosenberg has already raised thousands of dollars for Alzheimer's research and successfully run 2 car shows.
A Hypercar Circle is an event where I combine my passion with cars with giving back to the great charity, the Alzheimer's Drug Discovery Foundation.
The inspiration came from his late grandfather, who he says ignited his passion for the unique, aerodynamic, lightweight vehicles.
Because of him having Alzheimer's, he wasn't able to have great memories, so I want to make a great memory for myself here creating this event.
Everything from Lamborghinis, Ferraris, and McLarens were on display outside the entrance to the Fairview Country Club. The Rosenbergs said they wanted everyone to walk away with a new piece of information about the cars and disease.
I think people are learning about the different types of hypercars and supercars, and it's a great networking event for owners and collectors to meet and to feel that they're, giving back to a good cause.
It's the greatest thing in the world when you see people actually enjoying all these cars and knowing that you're doing it for a great cause.
As for the future, Jared hopes to not only make this an annual event, but take it across the country. And as for how his family feels about his accomplishments,
Very proud. I know my dad is proud too, and my mom.
in Greenwich, Nina Kapoor, News 12 Connecticut.
Jared's mom tells us last year he raised $2,000 and this year's goal was $3,000, which they reached. Good for you. A local dad asking for the public's help tonight, keeping his son in a special school for kids with autism. Dan Bernstein says his 15-year-old son, Jack, began attending the Glen Holmes School in Washington, Connecticut 2 months ago, but he won't be able to stay there unless he comes up with several $1,000s. News 12 Connecticut has been following Jack's story since 2017, when his dad said the local school district misdiagnosed the child as being intellectually disabled. Senator Richard Blumenthal says the News 12 stories helped Bernstein raise enough money to get Jack into the school, but a second round of tuition will soon be due.
Jack is doing so well at the Glen Home School. We're continuing this effort because we want to make sure he stays there. That's a great place for him.
I'm getting glowing reports about his progress, but we need to continue the fundraising effort. We need to funnel money back into the school. That's why we're asking the community for continued assistance.
If you'd like to help with the fundraising effort, we have details at news12.com. The Bridgeport Dominican community getting a special visit today. We'll tell you about that next.
OtterBox is known for their protective cases for your smartphone. The Defender series case can take just about anything. So why would this rough and tumble case company
Bridgeport's Dominican community getting a big boost today from diplomatic officials visiting their city. The New York-based Consulate General's office from the Dominican Republic holding a free seminar on East Main Street. Officials offering help with everything from passports to powers of attorney. Organizers say the idea is to empower the local Dominicans who call Bridgeport home by helping them complete some of the most basic tasks that might otherwise require a trip to the consulate in New York.
It was an honor and a pleasure to have the Consulate General's office here from the Dominican Republic to help our Dominican community and to provide services to them and to make them even a bigger part of not only our city, but of their culture.
They're offering passport renewals, renewal of what they call cédulas, which is identification, national identification for every Dominican citizen.
Officials also offering help with visas and document translation. All right, Michelle joins us now for a look at the forecast. And Michelle, it's definitely a drop in temperatures right now. I'm noticing the chill. I have my coat with me tonight. Not normal for end of April.
No, not really. Temperatures are actually going to feel much colder later on, too. So it gets worse. Now, we are starting the evening off on a damp note here as we take a look outside our community camera in Wilton. You'll notice that the pavement is wet. It's still cloudy. But as we go through the night and get up tomorrow morning, that sunshine returns. Let's backtrack today. It was a chilly day, high of 51 in Bridgeport. Normally, we should be at 62. So right then and there, you know, things are a little off, right? Well, the colder air settles in tonight and temperatures are really going to fall. Not record territory, but close as overnight lows bottom out in the 30s. About 39 degrees in Norwalk under a mostly clear sky. That happens overnight, and that's when we could see some of that frost develop. With a clear sky and lighter winds, it will allow our temperatures to really radiate. Not that they were warm at all today. So overnight and into tomorrow morning, it will get even colder. Make sure you dress warmly getting up and out the door tomorrow. Here's that forecast in Stamford. If you are north of the Merritt, in fact, temperatures are going to be a little bit colder than this, but we bottom out in those 30s and then we rise into the 50s for tomorrow. But again, we should be looking at lower 60s. Even though tomorrow is a nicer day, it's still a little bit below average. Higher pressure builds in temporarily. That's the key, because the next several days we have rain chances. We have a very fast flow that'll be coming our way. So it'll be one system after another, and our temperatures are actually going to be back and forth. So as we start the work week, we are dry, but getting up Tuesday morning, we have more rain. And this is throughout the entire tri-state area. Rain chances, unfortunately, will continue right through the end of the week. I'll have that full 7-day forecast coming up next. Annalisa, back to you.
Michelle, thank you. The Wilton Library is holding its biggest fundraiser of the year this week, and today the place was packed with shoppers. The gigantic book sale kicked off yesterday and continues through Tuesday. It stretches across 2 floors where buyers can find everything from cookbooks to CDs and even a large children's section.
I mean, the best thing to see is, you know, a young child on the floor reading a book, just totally engrossed in it. So yes, reading still exists.
All of the proceeds go right back into the library to continue their programs and efforts. Enjoying a meal at Sin City is one way to help the environment and those in need. Casinos in Las Vegas are composting and donating their food waste. The food waste is sent to animal farms, food banks, and banquet halls. MGM's Bellagio Casino received an award in March from the EPA for the success of their food waste recycling program. Attorney General William Barr warns he might not show up to a House hearing scheduled for this week. The Trump administration and House Democrats are at odds over the format of the testimony. Democratic chairman wants to allow all members of his panel at Thursday's hearing to have 1 round of 5-minute questioning each, according to a source. Now, Congressman Jerry Nadler also is proposing that the committee go into closed session to discuss the unredacted report. Barr has rejected both proposals, according to the source, and Barr is scheduled to testify before the Senate Judiciary Committee on Wednesday. Smartphones can be expensive, so a good case is typically worthwhile. And to get the perfect selfie, sometimes you need a little extra grip for that case. News 12's gadget guru Andrew Enger shows us one that may help in the download.
OtterBox is known for their protective cases for your smartphone. The Defender series case can take just about anything. So why would this rough and tumble case company join with a grip embraced by the selfie generation? Well, why not?
It makes a large phone manageable again.
David Barnett invented the attachable pop socket 7 years ago to make his smartphone easier to hold. And as phone screens got bigger, so did cases. And the idea for the Otter Pop was born. Now, special versions of the Defender Tough case and the more stylish Symmetry case have integrated and twist-removable pop sockets right on the back. And since pop sockets can reflect anyone's style, the creative combinations are just about endless.
We have over 1,000 designs. I'd say at any time there's probably 200 or 300 for sale.
Regular pop sockets can be placed just about anywhere on a case, but since newer phones have wireless charging, the placement of the grips on the Otter Pop cases are fixed, so they don't block the charging system.
The design is specifically made to handle wireless charging capabilities without having to remove your grip.
One of the things that makes the Otter Pop truly special is that when the grip is closed, it's almost flush with the case, which means it's really pocketable.
With the case, this should appeal to men who are worried about catching their grip on their pocket. That's the #1 complaint we've heard from men aged 30 to 50.
The Otter Pop cases come in several colors to match any style. I'm Andrew Enger, and that's your download.
The Otter and Pop cases start at $50. Want to check them out online? Just head over to our website, news12.com, and click on numbers and links. A new business opening in Fairfield will show you all the new shiny items you'll be able to buy inside. A ribbon cutting in Fairfield today as the town welcomes a new business. Fanedo's Jewelry holding a grand opening on Tunx's Hill Cutoff with local leaders on hand to celebrate the occasion. Officials say the family-owned business was proud to unveil its second location just a few miles from the original store in Trumbull.
This is part of the economic development effort we have going on in Fairfield, where we see new businesses coming in. We've got a great set of demographics for the town of Fairfield. I'm so excited to see a new retail business come in that's going to make such a difference in our retail landscape.
And the owner says a recent spike in diamond sales points to growing confidence in the economy.
Well, this is going to be a very unsettled week ahead for us here in Western Connecticut and throughout the entire tri-state area. So best bet, have those umbrellas ready to go. Think rain boots and rain jackets this upcoming week. Now, it's not raining the entire time, but basically every day starting late tomorrow night all the way into Friday, we have chances to see more wet weather. Now, everything that we had today is clearing out. The sky is clearing nicely. Temperatures are going to fall with lighter winds and a clear sky. Temperatures will easily radiate back into the 30s, about 34 in Litchfield to 37 in Stamford. Cold enough to see some frost, especially north of the Merritt. And then come tomorrow, we're looking at highs only in the 50s, maybe close to 60 in spots. We should be looking at lower 60s. Not really going to see that for a couple of days here. We are looking at very unsettled weather through Friday. Next weekend does look dry. And that's a look at your hyperlocal weather.
Thanks, Michelle. Avengers is soaring to new heights at the box office. Marvel Studios' Avengers Endgame made history in its opening weekend, making $350 million in North America. The film made over $1 billion globally in just 5 days, according to Disney. Captain Marvel and The Curse of La Llorona also performed well at the box office. You're watching News 12 Connecticut as local news gets. Stay with us for your top stories and weather ahead.